Long Island medium Theresa Caputo kicked her son Larry Caputo Jr. and daughter Victoria Caputo out of the house. She will now live with her new husband. Theresa Caputo's decision to kick out both Larry Caputo Jr. and Victoria Caputo suggests a major family conflict. Given that she has chosen to live with her new husband, it seems like she's prioritizing her new relationship over her children. Now, by choosing to live with her new husband, she seems determined to start fresh, regardless of the consequences. Theresa appears to be taking a hard stance, perhaps as a way of protecting her new marriage, or simply choosing a life free from the burden of her children's troubles. This decision could have lasting consequences. Her relationship with Victoria and Larry Jr. may be permanently damaged, especially if they see this as a betrayal rather than tough love. It also raises questions about whether Theresa's new husband influenced her decision, or if she genuinely believes that cutting ties is the best way forward. Regardless of the reasoning, Theresa is making it clear that she is no longer willing to put her children's issues ahead of her own happiness. It's a bold move, one that could either give her a fresh start or leave her with deep regrets down the line. However, Theresa Caputo, widely recognized as the Long Island medium, is an American television personality and self-professed psychic medium. Born on June 10, 1967 in Hicksville, New York, she rose to prominence through her TLC reality television series, Long Island Medium, which aired from 2011 to 2019. The show showcased her purported ability to communicate with the deceased, offering readings to both individuals and groups. In addition to her television career, Caputo has authored several books, including There's More to Life Than This, Healing Messages, Remarkable Stories, and Insight About the Other Side from the Long Island Medium, 2013. You Can't Make This Stuff Up. Life-Changing Lessons from Heaven, 2014. Good Grief, Heal Your Soul, Honor Your Loved Ones, and Learn to Live Again, 2017. These publications delve into her experiences and the insights she claims to have gained through her mediumship. Caputo has also embarked on tours under the banner Theresa Caputo Live, the experience where she performs live readings and shares personal stories with audiences across the country. On January 25, 2024, she returned to television with a new series titled Theresa Caputo, Raising Spirits on the Lifetime Network. Throughout her career, Caputo has faced criticism and skepticism regarding her claimed abilities. Organizations such as the James Randi Educational Foundation have challenged her assertions, awarding her the Pegasus Award in 2012, which seeks to expose alleged paranormal or psychic frauds. Investigations by media outlets like Inside Edition have also questioned the legitimacy of her mediumship. On the personal front, Caputo was married to Larry Caputo for 28 years before they announced their separation in December 2017. The couple has 2 children, Larry Caputo Jr. and Victoria Caputo, both of whom appeared on her television show. Their divorce was finalized in December 2018. As of now, there is no publicly available information indicating that Theresa Caputo has appeared on Howie Mandel's podcast, Howie Mandel Does Stuff. The podcast has featured a diverse range of guests, including celebrities like Jojo Siwa, Danny Trejo, and spiritual leader Gurudev, but Caputo has not been among them. In summary, while Theresa Caputo continues to be a prominent figure in the realm of psychic mediumship through her television appearances, books, and live tours, there is no current evidence of her participation in Howie Mandel's podcast series. However, in the 2011 episode titled Theresa Explains It All, she was deeply moved by a reading with a woman whose son had passed away in jail. This experience led her to conduct a group reading at a Long Island prison, where she connected a female inmate with her deceased family members, resulting in one of her most touching and surprising sessions to date. In a 2014 episode titled Theresa Visits Jail, Caputo returned to a Long Island prison to offer her mediumship services to inmates. During this visit, she connected a woman with her deceased family members, providing comfort and closure. While specific details about connecting a prisoner with their late father are limited, Caputo's work in correctional facilities underscores her commitment to providing solace to individuals from all walks of life, including those incarcerated. Beyond her prison visits, Caputo has facilitated numerous emotional reunions between individuals and their departed loved ones. For instance, in a 2021 episode of Long Island Medium, There in Spirit, she connected a woman with her late father, who had succumbed to colon cancer. The woman was surprised by her father's presence during the reading, as he had passed away many years prior. Caputo conveyed messages of pride and love from the deceased father, bringing comfort to the grieving daughter. In another instance, Caputo encountered a woman in a deli and connected her with her deceased father. The woman, initially skeptical, was moved to tears as Caputo shared specific details that only her father would have known, leading to a profound sense of closure and belief in mediumship. Caputo's work continues to touch the lives of many, offering messages of hope, healing, and connection from the spirit world. However, in a more recent and heartwarming episode, she went above and beyond her usual role. Theresa helped an Army veteran and prison inmate who had been searching for answers for most of his life find his biological father, a journey that would ultimately bring about profound healing. The Army veteran, let's call him John, for privacy purposes, had spent most of his life in search of his biological father. He had been raised in foster care after being separated from his biological mother at a young age. Although John was always surrounded by supportive foster parents, the pain of not knowing where he came from and who his real father was never truly left him. As an adult, John joined the Army to serve his country, trying to put the past behind him. However, even during his military service, his unresolved feelings about his biological father continued to haunt him. After his discharge from the Army, John ended up incarcerated, an unfortunate result of circumstances he couldn't escape from, yet his yearning to reconnect with his roots intensified. Despite efforts to trace his father, he faced numerous barriers and ultimately found himself feeling lost and uncertain about ever receiving the answers he sought. Theresa Caputo, known for her compassionate readings, was contacted to help John. Upon receiving his request, Theresa was drawn to the complexity of John's emotional struggles. It wasn't just about reconnecting him with a biological father. It was about healing a deep, long-standing wound. After an emotional reading, Theresa was able to connect with John's father, who had passed away years before John even realized his existence. Theresa's first message to John was not about closure in the traditional sense, but rather a message that his father had always been watching over him. According to Theresa, John's biological father had been present during his time in the Army, even though they had never met in person. This connection sent a wave of emotion through John, who had always feared that he was abandoned by his biological father. The biggest surprise came when Theresa revealed that John's father had left clues throughout John's life. Even though his father was not physically present, his spirit had tried to communicate in subtle ways, through certain symbols, numbers, and moments that John could not fully understand at the time. Theresa described how John's father had tried to send messages, hoping his son would one day feel his presence and recognize that he was loved. In a turn of events, Theresa revealed that John's biological father had expressed regret for not being there for his son, but also conveyed a deep sense of pride for the man John had become, despite the hardships he had faced. John, a man hardened by his time in the military and his time spent incarcerated, broke down in tears upon hearing these words. It was a moment of healing, as he finally understood that his father had never abandoned him. He had simply not been given the opportunity to be present. The impact of this experience was life-changing for John. The knowledge that his father had cared for him from the other side gave him a new sense of self-worth and purpose. He began to heal emotionally, working through the trauma of his past, and sought to make amends in his own life. John's story is a powerful example of how psychic mediums like Theresa Caputo can help individuals find the peace they desperately need, not just by connecting with the deceased, but by offering the closure and clarity that only a medium can provide. For those watching Long Island Medium, this episode had a lasting impact, as it brought attention to the emotional struggles many people face when trying to connect with their past. It also highlighted the ongoing battle of many military veterans and incarcerated individuals who may feel disconnected from their families, leaving them with a sense of hopelessness. Theresa's role in John's journey was more than just a medium's reading. It was a moment of emotional healing and a reminder that family and love transcend time and space. However, it was a cold winter day in Long Island when Sarah, now an adult, found herself looking through old photos in a dusty box she had pulled down from the attic. Among the collection of family photos, she came across an image that caused her heart to ache. It was a picture from middle school, Sarah and her best friend, Emily, standing side by side, grinning from ear to ear, celebrating their shared love of adventure. They had been inseparable back then, joined at the hip since their early childhood. But that was before everything changed. In high school, the dynamics of their friendship took a sharp turn. Sarah was caught up in a whirlwind of popularity and social pressure, and Emily, with her more introverted and sensitive nature, began to withdraw. At first, Sarah didn't notice the gradual shift. She was too absorbed in her own world. However, things escalated when Sarah, under the influence of peer pressure, began participating in bullying Emily. It started with teasing, subtle at first, but soon escalated into cruel and hurtful remarks. Sarah, caught up in the toxic atmosphere of high school, didn't realize how deep her words were cutting until Emily stopped showing up to school altogether. For weeks, there was no sign of Emily, and Sarah's guilt began to consume her. She had lost her best friend, not to a fight, not to time, but to something much darker, her own actions. Theresa Caputo, the Long Island medium, was at her studio one afternoon when Sarah, now in her mid-20s, walked in for a reading. She had heard about Theresa's incredible ability to connect with people from beyond the grave. But today, Sarah wasn't interested in talking to the spirits. She wanted answers, a sense of closure. After years of trying to ignore the void left by her fractured friendship with Emily, Sarah was desperate for guidance. As Theresa prepared for the session, she immediately sensed the pain Sarah was carrying. Sitting down across from Sarah, Theresa closed her eyes for a moment, focusing her energy. "You're carrying a lot of guilt," Theresa said softly. "There's a girl, Emily, who's been with you, haunting your thoughts." Tears welled up in Sarah's eyes as she nodded. It had been years, but the memory of what she had done to Emily was still fresh in her heart. "I lost her," Sarah whispered. "And I was horrible to her. I bullied her." Theresa took a deep breath, then looked into Sarah's eyes. "What you did to her, it hurt her deeply, but there's still time for healing. Emily is still around you, but she's waiting for you to reach out. She's not angry at you, but she needs you to take the first step." The words left Sarah in stunned silence. Emily was still waiting, but how could she ever make things right after everything that had happened? Theresa continued, "You have to forgive yourself first, Sarah, but also you need to reach out to her. If you truly want closure, you must face the truth and take responsibility for the pain you caused. Emily's spirit is ready to hear your apology, but only if you're ready to offer it." In the days that followed, Sarah couldn't stop thinking about what Theresa had said. She knew she had to do something, but she didn't know where to begin. Would Emily even want to hear from her? Would she even remember Sarah the same way? But deep down, Sarah knew she had no other choice but to try. She found Emily's contact information online, and with trembling hands, she wrote a message. She poured out her heart, confessing everything: the bullying, the neglect, the cruelty. She apologized for not being the friend Emily deserved. Sarah sent the message and waited, anxiety gnawing at her. The next day, Emily's response came. It wasn't filled with anger or bitterness. Instead, Emily's words were filled with quiet acceptance and understanding. "I've forgiven you, Sarah," Emily wrote. "I've had to let go of the past for my own peace, but hearing from you means something. It shows that you've changed, and that matters." Sarah felt a weight lift off her chest. She hadn't expected forgiveness, but Emily's response gave her hope. It was a sign that healing was possible, not just for their broken friendship, but for Sarah's own soul as well. Months later, Sarah and Emily met in person at a small cafe, both nervous but eager to reconnect. As they sat across from each other, they shared their lives over the years, how much had changed, the different paths they had taken. They laughed, reminiscing about the good times, and talked about the bad, including the painful years that had separated them. There were moments of silence, but in those moments, they both realized that the past, while painful, no longer had the power to define them. As they parted ways that day, Emily gave Sarah a warm hug. "It's never too late, Sarah," she said. "We're not the same people we were back then, but we're stronger for it." Hello, lovely viewers. Welcome to my channel. I am Mina. Hope your day is so well. If you like the video, don't forget to subscribe the channel.